volume's correct, dude. I don't know what. We're just sensitive after so many weeks away.
I guess so. Well, actually, I do have a question. I have a question for you.
Let's hear it.
Well, it's a two-part question. You remember? Do you remember hotornot.com?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say you were perusing hotornot.com. Maybe you come across my picture. What would you rate it? What would you say? When you say,
here's where you're going to have to jog my memory. Were the ratings just hot or not?
I think so.
There was no like.
I don't think there was a middle ground.
I'll give you hot. Todd.
You will. Oh, man. I didn't know how that was going to go.
Especially, you need to go bring back your old super stressed out Todd, like freaking single digit body fat overhead pressing or whatever. Your old like. That would be your picture for that.
Do you know how I weighed like 185 pounds in that picture? That's the lightest I've been as an adult.
That's the leanest I've ever seen you.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That was the only other time I was that lean in college, but I was never, as an adult, that's the leanest I've been. I was also a maniac. It was not a healthy place to be, so.
I didn't know where that was going. It was like.
The hot or not thing?
Yeah. Like
I don't know. That just popped in my head.
I thought you were going to be like, did you know that I was on there? Like,
oh, God, maybe I was. I don't fucking know. I remember there's these girls that I was friends with in college, and they played this game kind of like Marry, Fuck, Kill, but it was like no times, one time, or lifetime. And it was like, so they would like pick a dude, and they'd be like, would you do him? And it'd be like no times, one time, or lifetime. Like you would choose, and they would play that game.
It's a big jump from like 0 to 1 is like, okay.
Sure.
1 to lifetime is.
Well, that's exactly right.
It's a big commitment.
I'd always be like, so what'd you, about me? Most of them was just one time. So I don't know, which is fine. But anyway, I just figured we'd lead in with something like that because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Hey, there we go.
You have a very detailed outline.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go through this like a script, but what I want to do in 2024, one of the things I want to do in 2024 is just make sure, like, I feel like there's so many podcasts we record and I'm like, dang, like previous to the episode, I was thinking this. And so I thought just kind of writing out some notes, be like, all right, did we touch on these things? We're good, but keep it loose.
Okay. Well, where do you want to start then?
I mean, well, one, I want to start with episode 1 of this podcast revamped. You challenged me to the Georgia Death Race.
Yeah.
And so I have been waiting to.
Oh, you're gonna get me with something?
Well, no, I just did.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's not. It's not
a Georgia Death Race. Yeah.
But so I like, without going into the whole backstory, if you're just hearing this for the first time, like I spent last year running, like the last year and a half running and running base goals, and we'll talk about my goals this year, but I don't really have any serious running goals this year. But I already signed up for a half marathon in March, and I was just like, man, I do not care about that half marathon anymore. And I was thinking about how to still like make it worthwhile. And one of the things, I wrote it down in here somewhere, but essentially, challenge others to see that they're able to say yes. Because basically, like, I think one of the things that I've done really well in the last couple of years is like identifying that, like, the type of person that can say yes, be the type of person that can say yes. So everything I need to have, that I need to do to have very good general physical preparation, that I can just layer a little skill and then go do well at a lot of physical things. So I called you out the other day. Not called you out. I just said, hey, you want to go run a half marathon? And you were quick to say yes. So
yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I know I can run 13 miles.
Yeah.
I don't know how fast I can do it. I might, so in my head, I don't know if this is realistic or not, but my head, I say hour and a half.
Bro, you know how fast that is?
10-minute mile.
Hour and a half?
Oh, I guess 13.1 miles.
Dude,
oh no, that's really fast.
That's really fast. Like, that was going to be my A goal when I was going to train seriously for it.
That's I have my math messed up in my head.
Pace for 1:30 half marathon is a 6:52 mile.
I can't do that.
I was like, really? This is.
I can do that for 1 mile.
I wanted to go with an easy goal, Chris, and
Oh no, my math was fucked up.
yeah, no.
So I want to hold like a 10-minute mile pace is what I want to do.
So it's gonna be a 100. That's gonna be a 2-hour 10-minute
Okay.
half marathon. I think we can go faster than that.
I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
9.
I say we, like I'm gonna stay with you, so I think we can go faster.
Like 9 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think I can do. I mean, I'll do whatever. Like I'm not afraid to.
A 9-minute mile, be an hour 59. I think a sub 2 hour would be a good.
All right, let's do it. I'm in.
Hour 48. Got it. Okay.
Okay. Whatever. Man. I mean, I'll do it. Like I'll go.
Here's what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out for the first half at like I know that I can go faster. We're not gonna come out and be like, here we go. Yeah. We're gonna go first half where it's like we're pushing, but I know that I could go faster, and then the second half we'll try a negative split.
Okay.
So,
I'm in.
But we'll see.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
no matter what.
I have zero experience. I don't know. Like up to this point, like I ran a lot 20 years ago,
Yeah.
which is crazy to say. But the farthest run I've done in the past year since I started running again is 6 miles. So
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Just double that and then a little bit.
I'm not there. You have to understand. Like I don't have any trepidation about this at all. Like it doesn't make me nervous.
You have done plenty of things that I don't want to say like push you to a limit, maybe close to a limit that have spanned longer than 2 hours.
Oh, for sure.
So that's all this is.
Yeah. I mean, I've done shit that lasts days, you know, so.
Like I like to do little, like we were talking about it yesterday with Roni, where like we have the new testing level at the gym with Purple, and there's a 30-minute rowing test, and you and I decided to make the pacing the exact same as the 60-minute rowing test. And I said to Roni, like, when someone passes the 30 minutes, and I meant this in a very positive way, I was like, they're going to have this realization is like, oh, all I have to do is just double that. Like one more time. And Roni was like made like a, ooh, like, and I'm like, dude, but I get how maybe that would be like, oh, I have to do 100% more. Like maybe that's too big. But when you just chunk things down, there was something you just said and where I was going with that. It's like I just try and think in terms of like, okay, it's only as long as, and it's like, it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's like a movie. And honestly, we should go do it like a pretty short movie. Like you could sit in the couch and watch a movie, or you could go run 13.1 and see what happens. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's also, I think for some people it's a context thing, right? Like I have enough context of doing things that make me miserable that it's like going and running for 2 hours doesn't scare me. Like if it would be different if I was like, man, I want to perform and I have like a very serious performance goal, and I'm like, well, I need to push myself in training to get this. But like, I'll just build up mileage kind of a little bit and work up to 10 miles at one clip, and then shut it down for a couple of weeks. Well, not shut it down, but cut my volume back for a couple of weeks, and then just go run. I'll see what happens. Like,
and I guess I need to start running again.
Probably be a good idea.
We'll talk about why I haven't been. It's not bad. Just
tickle fighting.
Pretty much, yes.
I said to somebody the other day, I texted a friend and I was like, hey,
What's up with you and tickling? But go ahead.
Because it's funny. I don't know. Same thing I would say about butts, because butts are funny. And I don't know. I just say things I think are funny. How long have you known me?
A minute.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, I got tickets to the Tickle Fighting World Championship tonight. I can get us front row. Do you want to go? I'm like, what? Like, yeah.
Who'd you message this to?
To a friend. And was like, what? I'm like, I'm just kidding. Do you want to go get a drink? I don't think there's a Tickle Fighting World Championship. So.
There might be. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You could probably find anything. But live physically.
What about it?
So last week I screwed up. I don't remember what even got screwed up. I like jacked up the recording, and 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a whole podcast on Live Physically. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad we're not, that we're sort of combining the two. Today is how to set physical goals in 2024. And so now you've written 2 blogs, the how to live physically and then the how to set good goals. Mm-hmm. But Live Physically, you had your 3 C's in there, which which you tied into
The goals.
the goals blog.
Yeah.
I added a fourth C though.
Curiosity.
Curiosity.
Well, I essentially say that without saying it in the...
You can't say it without saying it.
I can. I can.
So I raised you 4 C's, which is, we're going to call it C4, and it's to energize you.
C4 is an explosive.
I know, and then we're going to bottle it, and we're going to, put beta-alanine in it, and you're going to itch a lot.
I don't like beta-alanine. I don't want to do that.
But I think consistency, commitment, challenges, and then I think even the order. Like for me personally, I went like, okay, consistency, commitment, curiosity, challenges is like, because I think there's a lot of people like we've talked about that, set a goal. And like one of the things you said in the blog was like, you might set a goal that's not really that meaningful because you just don't know what goal to set, but you need something to kind of orient yourself towards. And as you get going, it's like, I think that's where curiosity kicks in. And maybe that's where you're saying like you said it without saying it.
Well, the whole last section of the blog, though,
I didn't read the whole thing. No, I'm kidding.
The whole last section is about like not beating yourself up, and because it's like sometimes you have to explore. You just have to go try shit, So,
but I think how we were talking about like people putting stuff on the board where it's like I still feel, I feel like some of the goals that are up out there are like. Either A, like, man, you can do that so fast, like, then what? But I feel like for people to understand, like, try different things. Like, what interests you? What are you curious about? Like, what, you had it in this blog where you were like, you said about everyone wants, what did you say, a dump truck for a backside or something like that?
Yeah.
And you were like, but then they started asking themselves questions, like,
Yeah.
and I forget what questions you put in there, but the one was like, can I go up that mountain or whatever? Yeah. And I think that's curiosity. So yeah, it's in there, but I added that. But you did the 3 C's. So like, talk me through that.
Well, now I'm stumbling over my words. It's not something It's not something I usually do. I just think that those are the things that you have to embody to be able to live out, I guess, the value that we created, which is living physically, which is actually using your body and going out and doing things during your life. And so these 3 things, it kind of flows in both directions. So like they give you the means to be able to go out and do physical things in your life and to have a richer, fuller life, but also you have to do them to be able to go and live out a fuller life. So consistency with your training, with anything in your life, I think is important. Committing to something and seeing it through, and those kind of go back and forth. And then I think that challenges make us feel alive. Yeah. I don't think that we're, I think the quote, that's one of the ancient Greek fellers. It says about like, no one should go to their grave without, essentially finding out what their body can do. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, because I think that not only does that affect us physically and enrich our lives, but also it changes you mentally. And I think that even we were talking a little bit about yesterday. We were watching those James Smith videos, and I'm not saying that everybody needs to be like me or should be like me. And I there's a lot of ways that I would really love people to never be like me, because I know that I'm fucking nuts. But he said about how like people don't adhere to things that they don't enjoy doing, and so that's not always true. Like, I don't like running. I don't enjoy it, but I do it every week because I've seen what it does for me outside of running. Like, how much, my fitness has improved in other areas of my life, or like improving my aerobic conditioning has improved my mental faculties. The way, like, it's not a secret, and I've talked about it a lot. Like, I've struggled with sleep my entire life, and since I've improved my aerobic system, like, I sleep better, I think better. Everything, my emotional regulation is better. And so, but it's seeing that even in the smallest form, not smallest form, but in a small form, like I've gone towards that challenge, and it makes me feel alive in pretty much every other way I can feel alive. And I think that one of the problems is like people just start dying a very slow death when they stop trying to do things that challenge them, whether it's like physically, like we're talking about, or if it's in their work, or if it's in their relationships with other people. When you stop trying to push yourself at least a little bit, it's like you kind of start dying. And I think that that's where I talk about the misappropriated values. I talk about in the second blog of happiness and contentment. Like, of course, everybody wants to be happy and everybody wants to be content, but it's like there are certain times when you're doing something meaningful that you're not very happy. You wouldn't say that you're happy, you know, you wouldn't say that you're totally content, you know, and I think that that's a good thing, you know, and I talked about with me approaching climbing, like there are going to be times throughout this year that I'm going to be fucking frustrated. Like I'm going to be trying to get something and I'm going to fall, or I'm going to miss a handhold. I'm going to miss a foothold. I'm going to take a foothold or take a stupid step or do whatever I might do. But in the process, I'll be doing something meaningful. And so if the main goals are to be happy and contentment, like we live shallow, less fulfilling lives. And so approaching things from meaning and challenge and commitment and consistency, we actually create more for ourselves and have a better sense of meaning throughout the rest of our lives, rather than just thinking like, well, I want to be happy, I want to be content. And it's like, yes, I mean, for sure, we want to have those moments, but meaning stretches over time far better than those things do. And so that's a long-winded way of what I was getting at.
Well, I think I said this to you, and even though you said it like, not everyone is like you don't want everyone to be like you, but I know you say you don't like running, but like...
I don't like it.
But the like totality of your training, like you don't feel right if you don't go do those things.
I think, to move, yeah.
I think the context of what James Smith was saying in his video is like he's speaking to people who are more at like they're filtering all of the BS. Like his thing is like combating all the BS that's out there on the internet. And like, well, you need to go do this and you need to go do that. And like, and it's like, what do you like to do? Like start there. Sure. You know, it's like this, because if you like the whole like live physically, like we already do that.
It's a habit that I started when I was 12 years old.
Yeah. So like but getting someone motivated to get going who hasn't found something they like in any of this, like
that's why I'm telling them not to be like me.
Good luck. Yeah.
And that's the thing that I also am clear on the fact that it's nested within things that I love, and it's an expression of my values, where it's like I love to hunt and I love to go to beautiful places, and to get to those beautiful gnarly places, like you have to have a body that can do it.
Yeah.
Or you can suffer through it, which isn't fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's an element of suffering regardless, but it's I understand that it's nested within something that I love, and I think that's the thing that keeps me going. Is like I do see how that connects. So and then I think that that's one of the things where, you know, I talk about it in the blog, is like your values and how it attaches to things like that, because I think that there's an element of you just got to aim badly at first and just start trying to move forward something, so it gets you moving. But like adherence and consistency are going to have way more to do with you. It be connected to something that you love or something that you deeply value, because then you can see how, even in the midst of what you're doing, even if you don't love it, even if you don't enjoy it, you see that it's attached to something that you do love or something that you do really value. And that's why I goad people in the blog to sort that kind of stuff out for themselves. And it's you just have to cut the noise and have some conversations with yourself and pay attention to yourself in different situations. I went back and read through that Discovering Your Core Values book that I wrote years ago. And a lot of it is just like imagining yourself in different situations and how would you want to behave. And then you start to find out different things about what you value, you know?
Yeah. I think consistency, commitment, challenges is like, it's all interconnected, obviously. But like what I mean is, once you identify a challenge that genuinely interests you and is worth seeking, then you can backtrack what you need to be consistent with, and then that's what you're committing to. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But for some people, the first thing is just being consistent
Curious.
with something. And that something hopefully is based off of some type of curiosity, like hopefully something about it interests you, and you just make a commitment to doing whatever it is that you're going to be consistent with. And then from that, maybe then you identify some challenges that are worth seeking, or maybe you find out they're not worth seeking, but at least you did it. And I can't, I'm sure someone come up with some ridiculous scenario, but even trying things and being like, I didn't really like it, but like I did that. Like a lot of good can still come from that.
Oh,
so
for sure. There's I think the interest part is important, and whatever it is, from however you sort out what that interest might be, because it's really like one of the things that, I mean, yes, I think there are certain things that we all need to learn, and there's a certain level of rote learning that I think is important for everyone. But man, do people learn way faster when they're trying to do something that they're interested in, and like they're motivated to do it. And whether like looking at the half marathon, I'm interested to see how I feel and what I do and what I can learn about myself in that instant. So it's like, even if you're doing something that isn't, I guess as overtly or obviously interesting to you, like trying to find some kind of interest within it that nests within yourself, maybe, I think could be another way to approach it, especially if you're trying to make a change in your life and you're looking at something like, well, what you're doing isn't working, And so just because you don't like something at the very first initial part or doing of it, you need to be curious, because it's like, well, it's just like the question that they ask in PN, and it's not snarky, but like, well, how's that working for you? And it's like, it's not. So sometimes we all have to negotiate with ourselves to get ourselves to move forward. We can't like be tyrants to ourselves, but at the same rate, like you have to sit down and be honest with yourself and say like, well, I just want to be happy. I just want to be content. I just want to feel this way. And it's like, well, that got to you to where you're at, and you're not happy. You're not content. And it's like, well, maybe if you tried something that's a little more hard, a little more difficult, that requires consistency, that requires commitment, that challenges you, maybe things will be better,
So what are your physical goals for 20?
Right now,
24.
Right now it's to run the marathon, half marathon. I guess now I have a sub 2 hour goal. So that would be the goal there. And then I want to boulder a V4 at Sport Rock.
Which I'll be totally honest with you, I didn't fully understand. I mean, I understand what a V4 is. But you were asking me like, are you cool with me putting this up there? Which number one, I'm like, you can put whatever you want up there. But I didn't fully understand it. But reading the blog and like how it all ties and everything, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's I can explain it via those the C's is like, it's gonna take commit.
Are you gonna give the backstory?
I can.
Yeah, I think do that and then tie it into the 3 C's.
So I was in 2022.
Jeez, we'll be long dead.
In 2022, I was in Alaska, and I was my friend and I made a really bad decision to try to go up this mountain way too late in the day without really knowing where we were going. We didn't do enough map study. This isn't like a place where there's trails. It's like you're bushwhacking. And the face of this mountain was pretty steep, and it was covered in trees and moss, and it was very dense vegetation. And there's fucking brown bears everywhere. We saw that was also the day that I walked up to like within 200 yards of one. I was like, you don't have a gun, dude. What are you doing? I just wanted a picture, and I wasn't paying attention, so I just hopped out of the boat and walked towards it. And I was like, that was stupid.
Did you get the picture?
Not a good one. I didn't have the right lens on my camera, so I didn't even get a good picture. And so we decided to go up this mountain, and we cliff out, and there's nowhere to camp. And so we have no choice but to go back down. And so going up, it was spicy. There were times even going up, I was very frustrated because I didn't know what to do. And ego wise, like in most respects of my life, I'm a very competent person, and like I usually know what to do, and I didn't have any idea what to do, and so I needed a lot of help. And that was kind of brutal. And then we're coming down, and I got stuck, like totally stuck, like didn't know what to do. Was like, I wasn't panicked, but I was like, I don't know how to solve this problem. Like, I don't know what to do, and we're stuck right fucking here. And so my friend had to come up and walk me through what to do. And so the whole way down, I mean, we got down, we got out of there. It was crazy. We were on like an inflatable jet boat, like a skiff. And so we're going out of this like river in the dark with like no lights. We couldn't see shit. Go back across the part of the bay, which is the ocean, to the port to the place we were staying at, to the landing, like in the complete fucking dark. It was like if you could make bad decisions, we made bad decisions. The only good decision I think going out was a better decision than staying, because we would have just been in our tent shooting bears off our boat the whole night. Like, it would have been bad. So it wouldn't have been fun. But anyway, and I was just like, I was in a situation where I extracted too many resources from another person. I put myself in a situation where I could have been hurt or just made things worse for everyone because I didn't have the skills I need. Now, you could talk about that a lot of different ways. Like, was I led into a bad situation, blah, blah, blah. But regardless, like, I did not have what I needed to be able to take care of myself. And one of the things I value a lot is self-reliance. And I value skill development. I value learning. All those things are huge values of mine. And so I looked at that and I was like, I'm never going to be in that situation again. Like, I'm going to come home, I'm going to learn how to climb, so at least I have some skill set to be able to navigate these situations in the future. And so it made me, like, in 2023, maybe at the end of 2023, I started climbing. And so I did it consistently for a little bit, and then I knew in hunting season I wasn't going to be consistent with it, so I paused my membership, and I'm starting my membership back up. And I set the goal of a V4 because right now I'm at like mostly a V1, maybe some V2s. If you look at like a timeline of climbing, if you climb consistently for about 5 or 6 months, you should be able to do a V4. And so that puts me on a good pace, but it's going to require some commitment. It's going to require consistency. And it nests in with my values of self-reliance.
What?
Nests.
Okay.
What did I say?
Nests.
It nests in with my values. And so, like, I know that the next time I'm in a situation like that, I'll be able to solve problems. And on top of all that, like, I enjoy climbing. I think it's fun. I think it's like, I like the problem solving aspect of it. I like that it's physical. The issue now is I just try to athleticize my way through problems, and it wears me out. So, like, I need to I'm going to hire one of the coaches over there, at least for a couple sessions, to do some skill bidding stuff with me.
Dope.
So, yeah, that is my why. And those are the only goal. That's like that and the running are like those. I didn't want to put anything up that wasn't meaningful to me right now.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm at the point where, like, I don't need to set arbitrary goals because I have all these processes and habits and stuff built into my life that, like, setting an arbitrary goal just to set a goal isn't going to do anything for me. So
no, but it's like you said, that's going to take you roughly
6 months.
Fogger's
probably.
plan 5-6 months, and then.
Oh well, yeah, I said, and I also gave it like a 6-month thing, so I have the room to set goals on the back half of the year. But also, should anything happen, I gave myself buffer to be able to accomplish it.
Boom. So I've been running. I've been thinking about, like, I didn't put the half marathon on there because, like, a long run, when I was training for the ultras, like, a Friday,
was 13
a 13 mile would be like, that would be like a short long run. And so this might be dumb, but, like, I'm just kind of like, I might use that to almost start back up my spring running and just go, like, that'll be one of my first long runs. This may backfire. This may backfire. I don't know. But I also think the time off of my knee, with, like, some of the knee issues that I was having last year, my knee's been doing great. Although I will say that doing those high intensity continuous training, the lunges, sled lunges yesterday, like that finally flared my knee up. So I was like, all right, maybe we won't do this. But the week prior with like X bar deadlift, with box step ups, and the sled push, no issue. So, but no. So I don't have it up there because I don't feel like I'm really gonna. There's no process. I'm not committing to any process. I probably should. I'll be clear about that. This may be dumb. I might wind up in a hurt locker, like saying I'm going to go your pace. I'm like,
I doubt that'll happen.
But I don't either. But you never know. But so like, man, in December, honestly, before December. So like, I was supposed to do the 50 miler November 4th, I think that was, and I got sick, right? So like, as soon as I finished like my peak week, I have a 2-week just kind of deload, like walk my way down, and that's when I got sick. And I kept trying to go back to running. And I mean, we've talked about it, and it's not just us. Tons of people for some reason this winter, like just like with it's like, I'm sick again. And so I was like, I need to stop trying to force this and putting so much into like, no, I need to get out and run. And I was just like, I don't care. If I feel good, I'll go run. And then Finley expresses interest. I was showing her some stuff on Instagram with jiu-jitsu. I was like, you want to try it? She's like, yeah. And so we walked into Passos, Team Passos, BJJ. And I was like, dang, I see all these people I haven't seen in a long time. And they were real good at their, I don't even want to call it like marketing, but they're like, oh man, like, yeah, all these guys are so pumped to see you. We told them that you're bringing in Finley and blah, blah. You should come out Friday and train. And I was like, I should come out Friday and train. And so like early December, I'd be like, I have no plans of doing anything with jiu-jitsu. Go that Friday and then sign up immediately after and sign up for a year. And I was like, yeah, like, there's nothing right now with like, yeah, I could go do another, like commit X weeks to another train up for an ultra, but it's me, which there's aspects of this that I like, but I need something more than this right now. That is me alone on the road, in the mountains, whatever, which again, there's aspects of that I love, but I'm like, man, I want to get out and have fun with other people. Like I reflect even on like the earliest days of the gym, where do I want to be doing this stuff again? No, but where I coached every single class and then stayed there in between, and we'd be like playing PlayStation or lifting together, and like just it was like a clubhouse. It was like I had my community of people, and it was just like super fun, also super stressful. So again, I don't want to go back there, but there's aspects of that I miss, and I think that I'm like not quite 2 months in. I think that jiu-jitsu is providing that like community aspect, getting to know different guys there and having a really, really good time. So I've made my big overarching 2024 goal to get my blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which is aggressive because I'll need to average pretty much like 3 times a week to have a shot at earning that. So that's, I don't even know if I want to say that's the first thing. That's the big thing that's going to drive my my process goals. But then within that, before I get my blue belt, I would like to compete as a white belt. And this is probably a reach. It is a reach. But again, otherwise I could just be like, I just want to compete. Cool, I could go compete this weekend in Winchester. I think there's a competition. Wouldn't be a good idea, but I could
do it. Yeah.
Check that goal off. But I want to compete in podium as a white belt. So compete in podium as a white belt, get my blue belt. And then the third one is RCR, the WNOD. So run, carry, ruck. I want to run 38 and a half miles. I want to farmer carry 13 miles, and then ruck 38 and a half miles. And my goal is going to be sub 24 hours. However, we'll see. I said to you, I kind of want to do that like I'm going to break the rules of this right now, but like a true Misagi. But I'll still do the aspect of like...
You're not allowed to tell people. I don't know if that's...
I don't know. That's
for real. That's just
Michael Easter's thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I may change my mind on this, but as of now, I'm like, I don't... I said my mission is to be the type of person that can say yes to anything, but I think it's more of a value. Like I value being the person that can say yes to anything. I feel like the things that I've done over previous years have allowed me to do that. And it's why I was able to go do pretty well in an ultra. And it's why I've been able to go into jiu-jitsu and get smashed and no, but like pick things up and go in there. And it's like, I'm not putting anybody in trouble, but I'm able to go in there and like do okay. And conditioning is zero like factor. I'm not like, I'm working hard and my heart rate's getting very high, but I'm not leaving there going like, I'm not prepared for this from a conditioning level. Like, I feel like it's just another, like, yeah, like what we do has prepared me to be able to say yes to something like this. And so I'm living that out. And in some ways, again, it may be dumb doing that RCR, the whole WNOD, without specifically being like, all right, I'm going to do a 12-week train up, just being like, I'm going to do some running. I'm going to keep going to jiu-jitsu. I'm going to keep lifting, but I'm not going to be like reverse plan. Like on this date, I'm doing the run. I'm honestly just with reasonable notice, because I'd like you to be able to come along and help me out with some stuff. And so I got to let some people know, but within reason, just kind of be like, it's going to be 3 weeks from now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And not go, it's on this date that's 6 months out. Like, no,
Sure.
I don't know. It'll be sometime soonish. All right. It's in like 3 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. But I feel that that's me kind of testing this like value mission of type person that can say yes to anything. Like, well, how's it going to go with something that's, what is it? That I just said the total distance,
90
but it's
miles.
90 miles.
Yeah.
So
I think you'll do it. I don't think it.
I mean, I'll do it, but within 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the one thing I know, but like you're tough. Like I know that you're tough. So.
I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to. What wouldn't be good is to do that and then turn around and be like, I can't do anything for the next 2-3 weeks, because then I'm going to be like, I got to average.
Well, dude, there's the chance of that.
There is the chance of that.
There's the chance of that for sure.
And I'm potentially increasing the chance of that with just being like,
you just have to you just have to think if you're willing to make that sacrifice, because that is a very real possibility.
Yeah.
You might have to take a week off after that.
Oh, I don't mind taking a week off, but I don't want to be like, one of the guys that we train, another group that we train, said to me, "You're not worried about overuse injuries?" I'm like, no, not really. I think if I was like,
well, it's one big dose of stress. Overuse injuries are more cumulative than really that.
I don't think
you'd probably have to worry about that more if you trained really hard for it.
I think I'm going to
just
be
going out and doing it.
ridiculously sore.
I think the thing it will be too is,
the carry is the thing that actually,
it's going to be awful.
Because like 38.5 mile run and the pacing that I need, I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound terrible. It's just a little bit over a 50K. Cool. Got it. That farmer carry.
It'll be stressful. I think what you have to do is listen to me. If I'm like, hey man, you're fine, go faster.
Oh yeah.
Or hey man, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like you're not on pace.
Yeah.
Let's just finish.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be okay.
Well, yeah, no matter what, finish. But I think it one of the first things we talked about, chunking down goals. And it's like to look at it and go, I think I got to go back and look at the math. I think it was like, did I give myself 6 hours for that? Whatever it was, it was like
what? For the
20,
carry?
20 minutes a mile. So 20, 40, 60. So obviously that would be 3 miles per hour. So you'd be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be 4 and change. So, man, that's fast. I'd probably be able to go even slower than that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if I tried to maintain, if I did 30 minutes a mile, I don't know. I got to do the math on it. But point being is I know that I would be able, there's no way I'll be able to just walk 13 miles. So I think that it's game planning. What are the distances that I'm going to hit? And then like clear break, fueling, like hand care, go again. And just like,
I'm going to rub your hands.
nail it down. I'm going to need you to rub my hands.
Okay.
But,
have the finest lotions.
but I think that's kind of what's fun about it is just like this one, like it's not something that I'm signing up for online. There's going to be hundreds of people at the starting line. It's just going to be like, all right, we're going. Like, and,
it'll be interesting to see how you feel, because I remember at the end.
Oh yeah.
Because the Georgia death race was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if you have a stronger emotional reaction to this, which I think you might.
I don't know if I'll have, like, for me, the emotions during the Georgia death race were when I was about, I don't know how many miles out that was, but there was this endless climb. And it was when I was looking at my watch. My watch was telling me my projected finish time, and I was like, no matter what, like, this is really good. Like, I'm doing this, you know, like, I'm absolutely gonna meet my goal. I didn't know I was gonna beat it at that point, but I'm gonna meet my goal. Like, this is happening. Like, there's nothing that can derail me now. And that's when I started to tear up. And then after that, it like went away, and it was back to like, all right, there's still a lot of work to do. And then it never came back. It didn't come back at the finish line. It didn't come back on the car ride home. It didn't come back the next day. It was just, but there was also a feeling of just like, I'm really proud of that, you know?
Sure.
But it wasn't overly emotional. There was legit emotions when I still had hours to go. It's weird.
It's not weird. I don't think it's weird.
But I've never experienced that where like, I've never done anything that long though. But yeah, it's minimal emotion at the end. The emotions were hours and hours before the end. So, but I mean, I don't know what I write down here. Like, yeah, I said that I didn't know that these would be mine as of late December. And I think that's just the curiosity thing. Like, it's not a, I didn't walk in there and go, all right, I'm signing up and my goal is to get my blue belt this year. It was like
emergent.
Yeah, it was like, it was exciting to genuinely like, oh, this person's still here. This person's still here. Oh my God, I haven't seen those guys. And some of them like, I haven't seen that person in a decade. Like, that'd be awesome to see them. Yeah, come in Friday and train. It was like, went Friday and trained. Like, you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. Part of it is because I can't have my daughter get good at jiu-jitsu and then be able to like, you know, choke me out.
She's 10 years.
but and what's really cool is like, I mean, she's young and I'm not putting any pressure on her with this whatsoever, but she's having fun with it. And she said to me, so like, if I keep doing this, like one day I can be in the classes that you're in. And I'm thinking like, God damn, I'll be in my 50s, but
old.
Yeah, but heck yeah. And that would be absolutely awesome. But point being is like, it was just like, that would be cool. Did the trial class. And then I was like, let's commit to a year. I had different reasons for doing that. There was a financial component of like, there's a deal on doing a year. But also it's like, I don't want to just do this for the next 3 months. Like, let's see what we can do in a year. And then it was soon after that I was like, let's commit to like this process and let's try and get my blue belt. And I wrote below that, like, in retrospect, it's like, I can't say that even when I made that goal, it was like, yeah, this is it. But it's like further embodiment of being the type of person who can say yes to anything. And the other note that I made was like, I'm open to more. So we'll see. Like, I don't want to be dumb because the RCR and getting my blue belt is going to be a lot, but it's just like how I'm like, you want to go do half marathon? I think it would be cool between you, like Corey, Roni, anyone here, like for someone to just be like, what's that? I always jack up the name of that company. EX2 or E2X Adventures?
I think it's EX2.
EX2 Adventures. Like, just for us to be like, yo, there's this one coming up in, you know, whatever month, like, we want to get a bunch of people and go and just go do it. And it's like, not have to be the one that's like, and who knows, when we step to the starting line, maybe in some context I would be, but like I gotta be ahead of everyone. Just go have fun with people. And so it's like, I don't know what else is going to come up, but I am fairly certain other things that make me go, ooh, I don't know, are going to come up. Like, I mean, Mike Connolly hit me up, never expanded on it again or followed up, but about, hey, would you want to do a 24-hour adventure race? I was just like, when? Where?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know a whole lot about like reading maps and stuff, but all right, figure some stuff out. Go have fun.
I mean, he does.
Exactly. But so I don't know. I'm certain other stuff is going to come up this year, but those things are happening, and we'll see what else is going to happen. So.
Yeah. I think there's a balance between knowing, like, being broad and also being focused. Whereas, you know, I looked at knowing why you're doing what you're doing and how it supports what you want. It's like, we had conversations earlier maybe at the end of last year or the beginning of this month about like, all I care about truly is being ready to hunt and being able to do it for the rest of my life. Like, that's all I really care about right now. And so I think a lot of times people get distracted where it's like, you know, hearing you do jujitsu, I was like, well, fuck, I always wanted to learn how to do jujitsu. Like, I really enjoyed martial arts when I did them. Yeah. I was like, well, maybe I should do that. And then I'm like, dude, you do a million things. Like, I have practiced photography. I'm into music. I love to hunt. I love to shoot. I love to, it's like, and I know what I want. And like, so there's being able to discern like the signal from the noise, as they say, or like the shiny object, and say like, no, what do you really want? And being able to sacrifice some of the curiosity to stay on track when you do know what the thing is.
Yeah. And I think I was saying this because it's not uncommon, you're like between roles, like having conversations with people like, oh, how long have you been here? Like, and I was telling someone about like, last year it was like running ultras. This year, decided like, yeah, Operation Get My Blue Belt. And I was like, and then I'm not saying it won't be a continuation of something in this world in 2025, but I don't know yet. Maybe there's no chance I go from blue to purple in that next year.
Sure.
But maybe it's like Operation do everything I can towards getting my purple, or it's competition, or maybe it's like, okay, and who knows, there could be any number of things it could be. So this is just pure, like, maybe it's like, maybe I put jiu-jitsu like where I still prioritize it, like I still do it, but I put it on the back burner. I go from averaging 3 to 4 days a week to I'm just gonna get in here 2 days a week, because this next thing is kind of piquing my curiosity.
That was something that I've been meaning to bring up, so I'm glad you said it. I did Corey's interview for...
I thought there was going to be a joke for a minute. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm being serious today. Well, at least right now. I did Corey's interview for like the reel about what his goals are. And he, in a manner of speaking, he didn't overtly say this, but like paying attention to what's realistic within the confines of your life as well. Like you only have so many times, so much time. There's other demands, and like really sitting down and thinking about what might stretch you a little bit, but also what fits in with the confines of the time that you do have.
Yeah.
And not trying to, one of the things that I've done to frustrate the shit out of myself before is just try to do way too much and accomplish way too much and not really have the time to devote to each thing as well as I needed to, based on, what we were doing with our work or whatever it might be. And I think it's important for people to check in with that and make sure that it fits.
And that's why I'm not running. It's not a joke. Like, I don't have an A, B, C, D, E, F, G goal that has to do with running, but I do know that running has been a big part of why I was able to transition into jiu-jitsu. And I am very aware, and I've been tracking the data. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I know I'm going to do something. And this may have to do with the fact that this is a new skill to me, and so
it's right on the button on the top of my head. It hurts. I had to keep trying to figure out what to do.
So I'm certain that because I don't have the same skill level as the guys I'm rolling with, like my heart rate is higher. But I can tell you that like when we're doing like live rolls, like my heart rate is going to be in the mid 160s to mid, sometimes upper 180s. It's like, so, and then you look at how many hours. There were times where I was doing 9 to 12 hours a week of training, including lifting and running, but most of that being running. Now I'm putting in 3, 4, 5 to 5.5 hours a week of jiu-jitsu. But my running, most of it was like high zone 1 to zone 2 and like probably lower zone 2, most of it. This is like the majority of the class. Like I'll look at my averages will be like, oh, that's low. But then you look every single class for periods of 3 to sometimes 8 minutes. We did some 8-minute rolls today. My heart rate is up there in 170s, 180s. It's a different 5 hours than the easy, maybe 7 to 9 hours of running. Yeah. So I think even though it's like, oh, I could go run easy, I've been considering, I've been rowing a lot, and I've been considering doing more on like the Echo bike and stuff just for a bit, just while I'm acclimating to this, and then pick back up my running, which would coincide with the half marathon. Pick it up a bit before that. But I'm saying use that as like
6 or 7 weeks.
I know it's probably 6 weeks at this point, because I have it in my Training Peaks, and so it keeps sending me notifications and saying
it's 7.
Yeah,
7 weeks.
Well, next week is 6 weeks, so like this week's over. We have 6 weeks.
So 6 weeks.
Yeah. So this thing keeps reminding me 8 weeks until event, 7 weeks, and I'm like, Yeah. So, but I think I'll do more low impact stuff, and then weeks out from that, I don't know how many weeks out, I'll just start to ramp up my training, and my training, and
Your
that will
raining.
be my
Oh, ramp up my raining.
I'm trying to say running and training at the same time. And that'll just be one of my first long runs. So we'll see. I don't know anything else. I have a few things here for wrap up.
Yeah, go for them.
Really questions, like, and I think it's recapping a lot of stuff that we already said. Like, what are you interested in? What are you curious about? What do you like to do, but you're not sure you'd be able to do? Or what would you like to do, but you're not sure you'd be able to? Can you explore and commit to a process to accomplish it? Does the work interest you? It's the work that can change your life. The accomplishment is just the icing, which I think that last point, it's the work that can change your life. The accomplishment is just the icing. That pure reflection on what we just talked about with the Georgia Death race. Like, if all that someone did was just drop me at that race and my whole experience was just that, it would not have been transformational. But it was the fact that I did so much from when did I start training? August of 2022. August, September, October, November, December, January. The injuries that happened, the 50K that I did in January is a train up that made me almost think, I don't even want to do this. Like, screw it all. To then finishing out my training in February and March, and then going and doing the thing. It was all of the stuff that preceded it that made it meaningful. And then the race was just the icing.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, spend some time.
Well, I think it's something important to note would be pay attention to how your progress on the process.
Yes.
Because
like tracking
as you start, well, just because like tracking helps. Yeah. So for example, like, some people might come here and they don't love lifting, but they're doing it because they want to try it. They're curious. They know that they need a change, but like instead of feeling like they're butting up against this obstacle because they don't like this thing, it's like start to notice where you might be making progress and note that, because you start to gain momentum from that, and it starts to change the way that you feel about it. Sometimes, like my example with running is like, I get really curious about things that I'm not good at. And so that kind of drives me, but like it's noticing the progress that I've made is what keeps me doing it.
So there, I think, is what I was kind of getting at earlier. You are interested, you like seeing the improvements.
Yeah, but I don't like to run. The process of running, I do not enjoy.
Yeah, I get that. But if you were just running and you weren't seeing, like, oh,
why would you do anything?
Getting faster, I'm lowering my heart. But let's just say that, like, you didn't get any better at running, but it was still feeding. I just wonder if you'd be like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. You know what I mean? Maybe, maybe not.
If I saw the effects in other parts of my life, sure.
Lie.
I mean, lie. I went full Matthew McConaughey on there for a minute. No, if I saw it's about, I don't know. There's just a part of my personality where I'm able to look at someone and say, I don't fucking like this, but I do it because I know what it does for me.
Do you like?
I don't like cold showers either, but I do them.
Do you like the solitude?
Dude, I'm alone all the fucking time. So like
that sounds terrible.
I know.
I'm just always alone.
No, but the thing is, like, I spend a lot of time by myself. Like, that doesn't. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, like, I typically hunt by my. Are you cramping?
I'm about to get Charlie horse.
That's fantastic.
Got it.
I hunt by myself most of the time. Like, most of the time I work by myself at the house until I come here. So it's like I spend a lot of time by myself. So it's like I don't need the solitude for that.
But it's time by yourself, disconnected. Like,
I get that. Yeah, I get that sometimes while I'm hunting.
And you're doing something that is.
I like to train by myself.
Yeah.
I don't like to, and like that.
But I think
I enjoy coming into the classes and doing them sometimes for a change of pace. But I like to train alone because I don't want the influence of. I want to know what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
I don't want the environment to affect that, and I want to like. How always people always say it's like it's not what you do when other people are looking, it's what you do when you're by yourself. And I always want to be able to check it and say, like,
you just do everything by yourself.
I do most things by myself.
No, but there is a difference between even just the tension that's still there when you're lifting by yourself. And I think versus the like, and like of just going on a run. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't resonate with you, but like I did a lot of my training. One of my favorite things to do, and here's what I'd be curious to see. And I know that I think you did like a hike one day. I don't think you ran, but like if you were to go out to the roller coaster section of the AT or the backside of Raven Rocks where you go down to Shenandoah River campus, like and go up that way, there's something about, because you like hiking, it's the way that I explain it is like an ultra marathon is like speed hiking, and a long mountain run is just you're essentially and there's something about that. I remember being like, dude, I hated all the road running. The road running grew on me, I think, because I don't sprain my ankles on the road. But there's something about just getting in the mountains, and it's a given. Some of these hills, like you're gonna have to walk some of these climbs, but you're gonna like power hike them. And so it's almost like, all right, today I'm trying to get to whatever, or I'm trying to go X hours, or whatever. It's like, how quickly can I? So say I'm doing the backside of Raven Rocks. How quickly can I get there? And then I'll chill. I'll pause my watch and be like, all right, I did that in X amount of time. Let's see. Like it's mostly downhill on the way back. It's not all downhill that route, but see how much faster I can do it on the way back. Like just those little that makes it way more fun and engaging. Yes. Or like I'm going 3 hours today. I've done this route before. Previously, I made it to here before at the hour and a half mark before I turned back. I want to see what's ahead of that. I have no idea what's there. I want to see how much further I can go. Just little mental games, and I've had more fun with it.
I'm with that, but I also get there's also an element, I think, of play there too, because you got to pay attention to rocks. You got to jump from side to side. You got to do different things whereas road running you don't get.
You get into flow states in the mountain
for sure, because you got to focus.
Yeah,
and with me and running on the road, where it's different from other aspects of training is I never really just at this point get to shut down and just run, because I have to stay so focused on my pace to make sure that I can control my heart rate.
Yeah.
Whereas like lifting, I'm good at everything in here. Like I've done it since I was 12 years old. I don't have to think that much. I just have to decide what I'm going to do, and I do it.
Yeah.
Whereas like running, it's like I'm not good at it. So I have to pay very close attention to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do for myself. So,
makes sense.
I don't know. I don't fucking like it, but I will keep doing it. So
it cracks me up. I don't know. I don't know how long it took to grow on me. But it grew on me. But
we're also different too, because like not just like.
Well, I was gonna say, but I don't miss it.
But the thing,
but I know I'm not done with it.
But the thing is like I know that I will likely, as long as my body will allow me to do it, I'll probably have some aspect of it in my training program because I know what it does for me. But I think there's also a physiological difference, like in several ways. Like first, I'm bigger than you. Second,
barely, but okay.
Second, like I am one huge fast twitch muscle fiber.
Yeah.
And so like aerobic stuff does not come as easy to me as it does to you. Like it takes me a lot of work. And so I think there's that difference where like in here, I haven't deadlifted barely over 400 pounds for years, and I walked in and can still deadlift 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a very different world for me to go and run.
True. Yeah. I spent years trying to get stronger when aerobic stuff came relatively easy to me, and it came back relatively easy. So, and then to be able to, that's where I feel like, I don't know, more ectomorph like type build. When you invest years of getting strong and putting on muscle, like you still have that aerobic like advantage that I think you can go excel at a lot of things. There's a little bit of an advantage there, even though growing up you're like, I freaking hate being so scrawny.
Well, I mean, it's also like the article, I can't remember his name, but where we got the kettlebell mile from. Where it's like, I'm great at rucking. Yeah. I can ruck with a lot of weight for a very long time. Whereas like I'm not that good at running, and then there's the crossover, you know. But since I rucked today,
I can ruck well now.
You can now, and I rucked today with 50 pounds. I only did a half an hour, but I had a very hard time getting my heart rate out of zone 1.
Yeah,
and that's one of the reasons that I'll keep running. It's like I could barely get. My zone 1 starts at 125. and my average heart rate was 130.
Not to like, this is not a sales pitch to go run, because there's a lot of people that shouldn't run.
Right.
To be
Exactly
very
right.
clear, or at least shouldn't run yet.
Yeah.
But running is just one of those things, and I've talked with some people that are like, yeah, like that have done things to be able to go, yes, that is very true in my experience. And I haven't met someone who's had the experiences to go like, no, I disagree. The only thing that prepares you for running is running,
Mm-hmm.
but running transfers to just about everything, except for, I think,
Being stronger.
Well, yes, and like there's so much technique to rowing that you need to row
For
to
sure.
be good at rowing.
For sure.
So I don't think that running, I think from a general physical preparation standpoint, running can have some benefit to rowing. And the other one that it probably wouldn't have, and I have zero experience with, so this is just me thinking through it. I don't know that it would help with cycling too much, and I really look at that vice versa, because you have Lance Armstrong.
No ground contact time.
Yeah, and Lance Armstrong, and just think about like the way that you use your legs on a bike. Like Lance Armstrong went to marathon. He had a very respectable time. I forget what it was. I think we talked about it on a previous episode, and I looked it up. But for him to be like world
Oh God,
class,
sure.
I mean, best in the world.
But you also have to
cycling.
look. You also have to look at body type, right?
Yeah.
Like people self-select for you get selected by what you're built to do. You know, like that's why the women gymnasts are 4'11", and springy.
He ran a 246.43. That is fast.
It's good.
It's very fast. It's a low 6-minute mile. But point being is like, I wouldn't think this, but someone would possibly think, well, if he's like top of the food chain on a bike, it's still aerobic. He should probably be like a 220 or under.
But the thing
and
about
like,
it is
it's
like
totally
if he wasn't top of the food chain on the bike and didn't have the aerobic system he did have, he wouldn't have done that well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And who knows, like, when was it? 2005. No. He retired after 2005. Armstrong, who retired from cycling after his 2005 Tour victory, ran 246.43, nearly 13 minutes faster than his marathon debut here last year. I don't know what year this was written, but whatever. He ran it fast. I don't know how much time he spent training post.
I think and there's likely good research out there on this that I haven't read, but the reactive component of running.
That was 2007. This article was written, so it's not a whole lot of time.
There you go. changes the relative intensity of everything else, because you have to handle the ground reaction forces. Like even compared to rucking, like there's way more ground reaction force from running than there is to rucking.
Oh yeah.
And so I just think it lowers the relative intensity of everything else. I think it also, you move at a pace when you're running, even if you're running slow, that's faster than everything else that you typically do on your feet. And so you, even at a zone 1, zone 2 heart rate, you're producing energy faster aerobically.
Yep.
And so I think that's why it has such a big benefit on everything else.
Makes sense.
That's conjecture, by the way. That's me supposing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that's logically what makes sense to me.
Yeah. And that would explain, I think it's the plyometric component is why nothing else gets you ready for running.
For sure, without a doubt.
Nothing else gets you ready for
because
running.
that's what jacks your heart rate up.
And that was one of the areas that I was most wrong when I first started training tactical population. I was like, I don't think you guys need to be doing all this running. I think that you can get strong enough.
That's also like you were very into strong first and
Yes.
shit then, and that's
Yes.
like one of the shits that they say. It's like, it's bullshit.
Not true. Now, I mean, they feed each
Marry
other.
them,
They,
sure.
They feed
Marry
each other, but you got to run to run well.
Without a doubt.
So-
Without a doubt, you do.
Anything else?
It's probably enough.
All right. Normally you say I don't want to sit here anymore, but you seem to be enjoying this one, so I guess we'll just do a very...
Well, I like your corduroy hat.
It's because I complimented you to start this episode.
It helps. It helps.
Hot. He's hot. He's hot.
Yeah, I know.